Welcome back to wagertalk.com. This is video number 1. We are doing 3 Belmont videos to break it up into shorter segments for you. I'm Ralph Michaels, joined in studio with Marco D'Angelo. Folks, you guys know if you hit 60% handicapping in any sport, it's amazing. Well, what if I told you the last 2 calendar years, Marco has hit 60% of the 5 main races. He's hit the trifecta 60%, 3 trifectas and a superfecta in the 5 Triple Crown races last year and this year. It doesn't get any better than that, Marco. Welcome.
Well, I appreciate that, Ralph. And, you know, obviously the big score last year in the Derby, everybody loved that. But I got to tell you, for the Preakness, what we did with the Preakness, in an 8-horse field with the odds-on favorite winning the race, and we were able to extract almost 3x our money in that one. It was phenomenal to do that. We got every last cent out of the Preakness. We bet $302 and brought back $11.59. So there's even more value here in the Belmont, obviously.
Well, tell us the differences first. I mean, we know we're going from the Derby to the Preakness to the Belmont. For us casual fan, what do we have to look at, and what are we looking at differently?
What makes the Belmont so much different is this is a distance that these horses are never going to run again, most of them in their lives. The Kentucky Derby is 1.25 miles. Then you go to the Preakness, it's 1 3/16 miles, and then the Belmont's 1.5 miles. If you've raced in all 3 of them, there's only 2 horses in the field that have. You're doing 3 races in 5 weeks. That's tough to do. These horses generally, on their normal schedules, if it wouldn't be for the Triple Crown, they would be racing once in 4 or 5 weeks. They gap out 4 or 5 weeks in between starts. Here, Justify and Bravazzo, the other horse that was in all 3, they're going to be 3rd race in 5 weeks. But you look at the Belmont track itself. It's unique. There's no other track in the country that's configured this way. Yes, their big race is the Belmont, which is 1.5 miles, but that's the only time, you don't see 1.5 mile races. But the track itself is actually 1.5 miles. So they will start right in front of the stands and finish in front of the stands. They'll go a complete circle around the oval. And the track is affectionately nicknamed Big Sandy. And the reason it's called Big Sandy is the surface. Unlike most of the other tracks around the country, Belmont's track surface consists of a lot of sand. And that can sometimes tire horses because it's a deeper cushion, and they don't get over the track as easily as they would a normal track. And then they have the big sweeping turns. Because it's 1.5 miles, those turns are wide. And of all of the races of the 3, we talk about how much a jockey means, to the horse. And we always say, a good jockey is going to make a good horse better. A great jockey is going to make him great. But in this race, and a lot of times the horse can overcome the jockey, if you make your move too soon because you're accustomed to the configurations of other tracks, normally like when you hit that far turn, oh, okay, I got this much to the finish line. I start my move here or I start my move there. If you start your move going right into the turn, you're in that turn a lot longer than you are in any other turn in the country, and you've used your move too soon and you run out of gas in the stretch.
Well, you said very few races are 1.5 miles. So are horses trained at a regular race of 1.25 miles and just go longer this race? Or can you train a horse to go this long?
Well, if you're going for the Triple Crown, you're going for the Triple Crown. But there's a lot of horses that skip the Preakness because, A, they're bred to run distance races better, 1.25 mile races, 1 1/8 miles, and then so they would be better suited to the 1.5 mile race. Their breeding would dictate it. So those horses, if they don't win the Derby, they'll skip the Preakness and point towards the Belmont. Now, is anybody solely trained their whole career just to win this one race? No, because it's just one race. But they do have the breeding in there, and there's a couple horses in here, especially one of the ones I like, has the breeding top and bottom. Both the father, the sire, and the mother, the dam, both have distance horses in their pedigree and set them up for this race.
You mentioned 8 horses in the Preakness. We knew we had a huge monster favorite. Same situation, or what's the strength of this field compared to what the Preakness was?
What makes this field different is there's a good mix. There's enough speed in here that we should get an honest pace. that, so that somebody on the front end can't steal the race. And with that honest pace, that'll help the closers that are in here. So we have front runners and closers. And as I said, we've got some horses that skipped the Derby, or skipped the Preakness, raced in the Derby, and came back and now is fresh and pointed to take their shot at Justify. And we also have a couple new shooters in the race that didn't race in either of the first two races. And ironically, Ralph, since 2000, there's been 6 winners of the Belmont that didn't race in either the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness, but raced in the Belmont and won it.
So in the last 18 years, 6 horses have done that. So
yes.
Something you certainly have to keep your eye on. Now, something you taught me was the buyer figure and the speed. And, we saw how Justify would have been caught if the race was longer than in the last race. Does that concern you with this as the favorite? And does he, obviously, it's justified he's the favorite. But is the morning line what you thought it would be?
The morning line is what I thought it would be. And a lot of people are making a big deal about, oh, he almost got beat. And, and I pointed it out, and it wouldn't have bothered me if he did, because we wouldn't have had as many winning tickets. But the tickets that we had would have brought back way, way more with having Bravazzo on top. But what you've got to look at, Ralph, is people are comparing that it was a slower buyer speed figure and that he almost got beat. Well, first of all, they went slower fractions in the Preakness. If you remember in the Derby, they went suicide fractions. And he put that horse away. Well, let's say that other horse put himself away, because the horse that was battling him in the, in the Derby when they were going those fast fractions, when that horse quit, that horse quit. We know how muddy and the rain that day, he was doing the backstroke coming down the stretch, the other horse. But in the Preakness, the horse Good Magic, even though they weren't going as fast to fractions, they went head-to-head, throat-to-throat the entire race. And that does take something out of a horse. But to Justify's credit, and to Good Magic's, because he only got beat, he held on to finish 4th there and was only beat like, 3/4 of a length, is he put away the horse that fought him the whole way. And then so often what happens is when you finally put that one horse away, somebody comes flying on the outside like Bravazzo and nips you at the wire. He didn't let that horse nip him. He held him off and got there. So I'm not as concerned about it. And it had to be a slower speed figure because it was a slower race because of the fractions and because of the weather.
You teach me so much every time we do a video. You know what? You talked a little bit about what you made with a very short field. Tell us about your betting strategies and tell them how they can save $30 off your Belmont package.
Right, we've got the Belmont package up on Saturday. You can buy it by itself. That's $39, and that'll get you exactly how I'm betting the race. And that's the key. You can know, hey, maybe this horse is going to win and this horse has a shot at hitting it, but you got to know how to put those combinations together to maximize your bet. So you will get my exact betting strategies. You can take the email, print it out, or look off your phone right when you're at the window doing it. Makes it easy. You'll also get my top sports play on Saturday, which will be a baseball game on Saturday. We've been actually absolutely killing it the last 2 seasons in baseball, so you'll get that as a bonus as well. If you want to get an even better deal, if you use coupon code Belmont30, we're going to give you a 7-day subscription. A 7-day subscription normally costs $99. Use that coupon code. You're going to get 7 days for $69 using that code. You're going to pay $39 just for the Belmont package. So for an additional $30, you're picking up 6 more days of service.
$5 a day extra.
$5 a day. You can't beat it. Best deal going. You can check that out, wagertalk.com. And so you know when you do buy the package is up and available right now. You can buy it now, so you're locked in. Friday night, I'll be posting the plays as far as the analysis goes for the Belmont and how we're betting it. We won't put, obviously, the sports pick up till Saturday morning because we got to do the handicap and see what pitchers got used the night before with bullpens and everything. So that'll be added to the package Saturday morning.
Marco 30, $30 off a 7-day package.
Belmont 30.
Excuse me, Belmont 30, excuse me. $30 off a 7-day package, or if you just want his Belmont picks, $39. Folks, if you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Remember, this is Belmont video 1 of 3, 2 more to come, a lot of great stuff to talk about.